Well, hello, YouTube. If I decided to put this on YouTube, I don't know, I probably will. Hi. I literally just finished last boss in Elden Ring, so I figured I would go through and do a tier list of my favorite and least favorite bosses based solely on my first playthrough. Hi. I'm not good at introductions. So, I sort of have... It said S, A, B, C, D, E, F, and then if I missed a boss, then obviously I can't rate it, so I'll put it there. Yeah, man. So I think what we're gonna do is I'm going to start with putting my favorite boss on S tier, and then we'll put my least favorite boss on the board, and we'll sort of like go back and forth, put in a couple of good bosses, put in a couple not so good bosses. I'll tell you right now, I have 2 S tier bosses and 1 F tier boss. So it's worth noting that literally, apparently, as I am making this tier list, Radahn just got nerfed. So we will revisit this ranking if I need to. Where are you? Oh, it's in ABC order, so that makes it easier. It's Stargazer, right? Where is he? Where's Radahn in this? Is it R? Where the fuck are you? There you are. Radahn's my favorite fight first playthrough. Star Scourge. I was looking for it. I couldn't. Yeah. I was looking for the S's. I just couldn't find it. I personally like the big boy bosses. He's also Omega Chad. Has a really diverse moveset. Punishes players very well. You need to be very good to do well with the fight. He has a lot of like, he's very weak to bleed. And again, a lot of enemies are very weak to bleed, so that's not really anything new. But at the same time, you have a little bit of margin of error to play with him, especially if you're like a little early or a little late on your dodges. A common thing that I have actually seen on other streams that I have gone and watched is that they don't like Radahn because you can't see what he's doing. To that I would say you're playing the fight wrong. With Radahn, you're not trying to get in his face all the time. You want to keep your distance, see what move he is doing, and then after the move, you want to be up in his face. There are some moves that you actually don't even need to dodge. You can just run underneath him, and then when he's doing his you just wail on him, and that's great. The only exception is he has a really quick overhead move that he sometimes does after he finishes an attack. You need to be ready for that, but other than that, it's actually fairly straightforward to sort of get your distance back, or to react to what he is that he's doing. So, Radahn, my personal favorite fight in the game. Quasi-cheesable, that's very true, but I would also feel like the vast majority of players aren't going to be cheesing a lot of these things, but that's fair. I personally don't mind that as much. So one thing I guess I should talk about, things that I consider when I talk about bosses is the fight itself, how diverse his mechanics are, how fair he is, or how fair the boss is. Fair as in once you learn the fight, you can sort of put runs together to where you don't feel like RNG is screwing you over all the time. I also take into account the scenery of the fight, like how cool it is. It's just like a spectacle, and Radahn's is probably top 3 in terms of a spectacle, which is why I hold it as highly as I do. He does have some really difficult moves, like in phase 3, he has the big fucking 4 rocks that are difficult to time rolls for. Is it 4? It's 4. Outside of that, I don't have a problem with him. It's not even a problem, but Yeah, I like him a lot. Favorite in the game. All right, time to get to the shit show. Where the fuck are these two? Where the fuck are these two in this tier list? Where are you? I think I need to turn the music up maybe a little bit. Where are these dumb fucking gargoyles? Literally the worst fight. Valiant Gargoyle. Well, that's one. Yeah, I think this is it. Valiant Gargoyle, least favorite fight in the game. This is the gank fight that's at the waterfall. I fucking despise everything about this fight. Not because it's a gank fight, but because... So, for reference, I have played hundreds of hours of Bloodborne, hundreds of hours of Dark Souls 3. One of my favorite bosses of Dark Souls 3 is Demon Princess. I like Demon Princess. I personally think it's my favorite gank fight that FromSoft has ever made, including Ornstein and Smoke, who I think is very overrated. The reason why I like Demon Princess so much is because the two demons communicate with each other. There's always one that's aggressive on you, always one that's passive and doing the freaking poison shit. Every now and then they'll mix up, but it does not last long. You can tell that they have very specific sets of time that they're being aggressive versus being passive, and you can always focus on one of them and just keep the other one in mind while you're doing your shit. These gargoyles are not that. They operate on their own fucking stratosphere, and they just go pop, pop, and then sometimes they're both running away from you. Sometimes they're both in your face. It's so fucking annoying. I got legitimately mad 2 times in my playthrough. This was one of them. I fucking despise this fight. It is the only F tier fight in this game, in my opinion, based on all the ones that I played. Personally. Enough with that shit. My second favorite fight in the game. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Melania is my second favorite fight. Oh, one thing to note. The tiers are left to right, so left on S tier. I like it more than right on S tier. So it is top to bottom. I don't have like the tiers randomized. I will be favorite to least favorite per tier. Melania is my second favorite fight in the game. If we were going based on difficulty, Melania would be the most difficult, and it wouldn't even be close. Like, she is by far and away the hardest fight in the game. She has the most intense mechanics. She is the least forgiving fight in the game. She has a move that in many cases is unavoidable, that you're going to get hit by in the little fucking whooshy whoosh that she does at about 2/3 to 3/4 of her health pool. There is a way that I figured out to avoid it. But that involves you being a correct distance and sort of playing off of her. She, because of that one, you really have to change your strategy for the fight centers around that one move, and it's kind of insane. But at no point do you really feel that RNG is messing with you, because it's a well-balanced fight in that it requires you to think, it requires you to, well, you have to know the mechanics, know when she's going to be doing certain attacks. But if you do everything right, you do get attack windows, and she does reward you. Granted, those windows aren't very long, but you know. And phase 2 is 80% similar, the same as phase 1, and honestly your strategy doesn't really change from phase to phase. Sometimes her air attacks get an additional freaking Scarlet Rot AoE, and you just dodge that and then you fight the fight like you would before. She does get 2 additional jump moves, one of which where she sends out it's 5 soldiers but 6 attacks, and then she follows that up. Keep your distance on that one. And then what I did was I kept the distance for the first 5 swings, and then the 6th and the 7th I dodged towards her, and I was always right next to her when I did that. Much like Radon, she is weak to bleed, so it does give you a little bit of an option if you are seriously struggling with her. And also at the beginning of phase 2, if you use spells and ranged attacks, you have a massive window for significant damage at the start of phase 2 because she does an aerial bomb move where she has to sort of rebuild, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna take the next 13 seconds to just move, and you can attack her during that, but you can't get up close because you build up Scarlet Rot and take damage and you die. I've had friends tell me that this is the hardest fight that FromSoft has made. I understand why you feel that way. I really do. I personally think Ludwig is harder, at least for a first playthrough. But as I get more playthroughs, because I intend to do numerous challenge runs in this game, ruin level 1 runs, other things. That's sort of where I get my difficulty scaling for. But yeah, that's Melania. Awesome fight. Definitely, like, what you're going to find is that I'm going to have a lot of the major bosses rated very highly because they're very good. Yeah. Second least favorite fight. Where the fuck are you? Fire Giant, where are you? Fire Giant. My immediate feeling was to put this boss in the F tier because I think it's awful. But as I think about the fight more, it is a D tier fight. I still hate it, but it's not this. It's not gargoyle gank shit. It's shit, but it's not that. Just the fact that, so if you, in case you you guys don't know, there is a cheese for this fight where you can just like sort of make him fall 10 feet and he loses all of his HP if he does it twice. It's insane. And the fact that that's what people do to for that fight, it's kind of crazy to me. But phase 1, it's honestly not that bad. Very predictable. Get on your horse, ride up to him. He'll either do like an AoE attack where he does a stupid pull and just whooshes and dirt flies at you. Get under his feet and then fucking whack his ankle until phase 2 starts. When phase 2 starts, I wanted to jump off the bridge, man. He rolls around like a fucking beetle so much. I hated it. Just think, so phase 1 of my clear took maybe a minute or 2. I think just because he rolled around like a fucking dog so much in the second phase, that phase took me like 10 minutes. Oh, I hated it so much. Oh, just because it's in this tier because of the rolling and that alone, and I am emotional thinking about how awful this fight is. Okay. Let's see. That's all that I've got in terms of like my favorite and least favorite. I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna go alphabetically and just sort of put things. What is it? Battle Nage Huggies? Uguez? Which one is this? I can't remember who this is. I don't even remember who this is. I don't, golly, I'm gonna have to, the Clean Rot Knight's a boss? The Mage and Kayla through the portal. I'll need to do this. Because I also, can't see the image very well, so I'm just looking for a bigger picture. Oh, it's just one of the freaking summons. I'm just gonna sort of put them all here. If I don't really remember it much, then it's not bad and it's not great. So C tier. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think that is very fair. If it's not forgettable, then it's average. Same with Beast of Fair Missoula. Very, very forgettable. Not great, not terrible. He exists. Bell-bearing hunter. A lot of these mini bosses I'm going to have to look up because I just can't remember. I don't know if this is one that I fought. I'm just gonna put this one here. Borealis, the freezing. Oh, so this is that ice dragon. So this ranking is going to apply to all of like the dragons that aren't in Azula or like specific special dragon fights. Multiple fights with it as an NPC. I'm sure if I played it, then we'll just put him here. You did. If I don't remember it, then it didn't have me. It didn't affect me in any way. I think that's fair. Borealis, this applies to every single dragon fight. That all of the like basic dragon fights that don't include the ones in Azula and any special ones that have specific movesets. This B ranking applies to all of them. I didn't mind them. I mean, it's like, so the dragon at the friggin' Linwood Lake was actually the first boss that I killed. So I sort of fought a few of these. A shitty NPC boss. All right, we'll just do this. We'll keep him in C because I don't remember. So he couldn't have affected me one way or the other. But yeah, the dragon fights, I don't mind them. I think they're fun. They're not super duper great, but there was not a single one that left a bad taste in my mouth. So I have nothing to say there. The Cemetery Shade, is that one that I did? It's okay. Yeah, this is the definition of mediocre. These shades are the definition of mediocre. They're not bad. They just sort of exist. They freaking teleport around. One of them has poison over his head, and it's, oh my god, super scary. Not really. It's the definition of mediocre. That said, I will put it above all of these because I actually remembered it. So it had some effect on me. Clean Rot Knight? Sure. It's a knight. Commander Nile. Okay, so you fight Commander Nile twice in this game. Both times he has summons. One of them is in a swamp in Caelid. The second one is in a castle in the snowy area. Both of which are good. Commander Nile is an A, borderline S tier. The only reason why I don't put him on S tier is because the fucking summons make me want to throw up. Specifically the one at the Commander Nile fight in the castle. That fight is fucking sick. If not for the summons, top 5 fight for me, if not higher. Maybe top 3. His moveset is so cool. His freaking explosions and lightning and frost and everything, I loved it. They have both of them split up. I guess that makes sense. I didn't see that. So I guess we can do both of them then, because I actually this is the castle one, right? Where is the other one then? I didn't see that. Because Commander O'Neill, where are you? Oh yeah, there you are. Commander O'Neill. That makes sense. Okay, Commander O'Neill is a B tier. He is Diet Commander Nile. He is Diet Commander Nile. Moveset is still cool. He can get into a big rhythm with him. It's like once you get into that sort of groove with these games, that's where it's great. Both Nile and O'Neill allow you to get into that rhythm. Obviously, Radon and Millennia do too. The summons, meh. If not for the 2 night summons on Nile, he'd probably be low S for me. But still, both of them solid. Nile, great. Yeah. The Blackblade Kindred. So these, okay. This is these Kindreds, you fight them a bunch throughout the game. Sometimes they have They usually have like the axe. Yeah, yeah. So, do I like them? I prefer the dragons. Yeah, I like where these guys are now. I mean, they're big. They're big stone bird things that have weapons and hurt a lot. What more could you want, right? But in all seriousness, I mean, they're fun. I don't have a problem with them. Their movesets are dynamic enough to where I actually have to think when I fight them. It's not just mindless unga bunga caveman, which you can do with a lot of bosses in this game, just sort of overpower them. Solid. Nothing bad to say. Black Knife Assassin. So you fight the Black Knife Assassin a few times in this game. The most memorable one for me was actually the first time that I fought him, and it was when he was invisible. I wanted to throw my controller a little bit. But with that said, I'll give him a low B. Moveset's fun. You can stun him. Yeah, the invisible one is something else. It's a cool gimmick, I'll be honest with you. But oh my god. I think he's a B tier. Good. Not great. Like, he's one that you can just sort of unga bunga to death if we're being honest with ourselves. You have to stop every now and then to roll, but you don't actually have to go through and learn their mechanics. You can just sort of react and you'll be okay. It's not bad, but you don't have to think a lot to beat him. So he's a B tier for me for that reason. Same thing with this guy, the Bloodhound Knights, but I prefer them to the Black Knife. No. I take that back. His moveset is too basic. These Bloodhound Knights literally have one freaking string that they center everything around. It's a freaking sweep, and then 2 quick moves that one of them ending in an overhead. Free damage after that. The only difficulty comes is knowing when he's going to do that off of a teleport, but if you're close, then that's not as much of an issue. With that said, you actually need to... Well, I take that back. You actually have to think. You actually have to use your brain for this guy, so I'll put him above the Black Knife. Yeah. I think I'm okay with that, because you actually have to use your brain. And he's actually solid for the early game, because yes, his moveset is relatively basic, but it teaches you roll timings at the start. The invisible Black Knife is D. I appreciate it. I'd probably give that one a high C for me, but I understand. But yeah, that's how I feel about the Bloodhound Knights. So the Carry Knight, he's just a troll he is just a troll that does sword stuff with the spell sword stuff. I remember him, so I'll put him here. I think the Cemetery Knight's a little bit better though. It's a troll that has a little bit more health, wears a cool helmet, and does spells, and has a sword. That said, he is good for... Excuse me. You do fight him relatively early, if I remember correctly. So he is good for learning the mechanics. So I guess for that, I'll put him at the top of C tier. Because he is a good introductory, like good early game. Learn the mechanics, similar to how Bloodhound is. But I prefer Bloodhound because he's a little bit faster. Crucible Knight. Right here. Oh god, do I prefer you over Bloodhound Knight? Your moveset's more dynamic. I'll put you here. Crucible Knight, another great early game boss that the first time that you would usually fight. The first time I fought Crucible Knight was in Nevergol in Limgrave. I enjoyed him a lot at that time. Actually, no, actually I think I prefer you to Blackblade too. I prefer the dragons though. I prefer the dragons, but Crucible Knight's solid. He is so he teaches you good. He is a good boss for 2 things. The first is learning movesets, and the second is for new players that certain bosses have second phases where their movesets are adjusted. The first time we fight the Crucible Knight, and in case you guys don't know, there are actually two versions of the Crucible Knight. One that's more like dragon flight based, and one that's more like fire and frog based. The first one that you fight is dragon flight based, and he's very good for teaching the player that bosses can be different when they get below 50% health. He's a very good boss to sort of teach you that. I have no problem with him. I think he's good. He teaches the player how to do a lot of things, introduces them to a lot of good mechanics, and you get some good shit when you finish the Evergoal. Same with Bloodhound. I'm actually putting Bloodhound above the Blackblade now. I'm happy with that. And yeah, that's it. The Crucible Knight, solid boss. Crystallians. This is gonna be the gank version. All the gank versions, where there's one that has the range, and then the one that does the low C. Not D tier. Low C. Low C. The reason why they are low C instead of D is because you actually have to work to be able to do things to them. Like for the crystal things, they are D, all of them. They're not great. They're not great, but they don't make me sad at the same time. I'm happy with where I have them. I don't look forward to fighting them. I get. I'm gonna keep him at low C for now. But they force you to use a blunt. Well, I mean, you can just two-hand whatever weapon you're using, and that'll be fine. You just can't one-hand them. But yeah, I appreciate the fact that they make you play a certain way, and you get rewarded for playing in that way. And then once you break their armor, you can go full caveman unga bunga on them. But that said, they have nothing really good going for them. They just sort of exist, but they don't piss you off. So for that reason, low C. Scarlet Rock triple. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Never fought those. I never fought those. So maybe if I had fought the Scarlet Rot versions, maybe I'd feel differently. But I didn't, so I don't. Dragon. Is this which dragon are you? Where are you? Oh, is this? Oh, this is just the fucking. Oh, this is just the one that sits still in Kaled. Doesn't really. No, is that? Is it just? Oh, is it just an? Oh, it's this one. Same ranking as the other one. All the majority of the dragons I'm gonna be putting there. Unless this is a different one. Because there's that big fucking dragon. Nah, I'm happy. I'm okay with that. B, same reason as this guy. I enjoy fighting the dragons, but they're not A tier. The human, did I even fight you? The demi-human queen, that name does not, ring a bell for me. Oh, it's just one of the, it's the big dude. Yeah, doesn't really do much for me. We'll put you right here. You fought them late and pummeled them? Yeah. Maybe I can't rank them properly because I fought them, the second spell place. Right, yeah. Yeah. So I'm okay with putting you here then. I'm cool with that. Demi-human chief, probably the same thing. I sort of just destroyed you because I fought you late game. Divine Bridge Golem. So there are a few of these throughout the game. I'm gonna put you here. You don't really offer anything special. You just clip, clap, clippity, clappity, clap the ankles. and then you fall over, you riposte, and you repeat the process. You just sort of exist. I remember your existence. I don't hate you, but at the same time, meh. What you're gonna find is that a lot of the non-main bosses are probably gonna end up in the B to C tier, but all the main bosses will be higher. We haven't gotten to a lot of the higher ranked bosses. For example, the Dragonkin Soldier of Noxtella. So you fight two Dragonkin soldiers. One of them you fight in the underground city area, and the other one, well, I guess they're both underground. And the other one that flies and has lightning, they're both on the list. I can't remember which one's which then. I can't remember which one's which because I'll do both of them. What's the name of the other one? I can't remember. Oh, there you are. Okay, I know which one's which. I got you. So we'll do the Dragonkin Soldier first. This is the basic one that you fight underground. We're gonna give him a high B. I like them more than the dragons. Not as much as... Well, you fight him 3 times, don't you? Because you also have the fight of him. Like, it's the same one. Because you fight him again in a clean rot rate. In a clean... a rot lake? God damn. And I think that's cool. But, God, do I like him? I think I do like him more than I like Commander O'Neill. We're gonna give him the highest B tier. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It is based on difficulty or the concept and design of the boss. It's all of the above. It's all of the above. So, just one second. I need to change the stream title to be more clickbaity. Difficulty and concept and design. So the biggest thing for me, Vesserai, is the complexity of the mechanics and fairness. Is it a boss that you can learn and not feel like you're getting screwed over by RNG over half the time? And is it a boss that allows that, when you do learn those mechanics, allows you to take advantage of damage? So loved Rykard. I felt fair and looked cool. We'll get to Rykard in a bit. I also, this may be a different thing for me. I also put a lot of emphasis on the scenery of the arena, sort of like the flashiness of the fight. Part of the reason why I have Rodon as my favorite in the game. Honestly, that's probably what put him above Millennia for me. But those are the main things for me. The environment plays a big role for me. But we'll get to Rykard in a bit, because I do have feelings towards him. So yeah, Dragonkin Soldier, very diverse moveset. He can be punishing if you spam dodge, because he sort of does go all over the place with his timings. But at the same time, you sort of do enough damage to him. And, he has some... His stomach area isn't a part of his hitbox. Sort of wish it was. But fair enough. This Dragonkin Soldier of Nextella, straight A tier. I fucking loved this fight. I got it done. I one-shotted this boss somehow. This boss was fucking sick. I loved the frost lightning and the flying around and otherwise being the exact same as Dragonkin with lightning stuff. I loved it. It was super cool. It tanked my in-game frame rate, but that's okay. That's okay. We go with that. Super cool though. I like the environment. The arena's open enough to where he can fly around and I don't feel like it's a bunch of bullshit flying in my face. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say. It's just not as cool as the bosses above it. So the Erdtree avatar, they're all the same. And they are all here. Middle of B tier. If you played any Dark Souls game or Demon Souls, you have fought this guy before. And you have fought him a lot. And you will fight him a lot in this game. That said, He's enjoyable. He's sort of fun to just sort of pummel because he's not really, if we're being honest, he's not that hard. He telegraphs like a motherfucker and he's very easy to punish, but he's also just fun to sort of beat up. It's like he's the punching bag of Elden Ring, and there's nothing wrong with that. Not everything needs to be brutally difficult, and he's engaging, but he's not really diverse. Blasphemous blade built to these avatars, it's awesome. That's something I feel like that I should mention. So the majority of my build was, I was pretty much full melee build in my first playthrough. By the way, Vesserai, I literally finished the last boss right before doing this tier list. So we were literally fresh off of finishing the game. Yeah. The Erd Tree Burial. I'm just going to be honest. There are so many bosses. Sometimes I do have to Google these just to remember what they look like, because I also can't see. Right. These guys. Yep. The hopping dogs that I thought were cats. How are you going to tell me that this isn't a fucking cat? What is shit? That's a fucking cat. Anyways. Middle of C tier. I remember you. I'm not too fond of you. We'll put you here. They exist. Why the fuck are they? If they're cats, then why are they called watchdogs? It's weird. From Software for everybody. They exist. They are there. One of them's magical. The first time I fought these guys was actually the gank version of them. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The more I think, I'm putting an asterisk on the crystallians, because as I think about it, I'm sort of agreeing with you guys. They're cats. They're cats. They're fucking cats. They got the animal wrong. But it's still fine. Like, they're relatively engaging. They're just not special. Eskar, Priest of Blood. This is probably one of those summons. Yeah, it's just one of those summons. Middle of C tier. Don't really have much to say. You sort of approach all these guys in the same way. They're fine. So we'll just put you here. We're going to put you... I actually like you more than I like the... Nah, we'll put you here. Yeah, I'm cool with that. The Falling Star Beast. I'm just gonna say it based on this picture. This picture just looks like a rock wearing a diaper. He just looks like a boss. Oh, it's the fucking bull. I fucking love the bullfight. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. I fucking... It does, doesn't it? It looks like a rock wearing a diaper. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about putting these guys down in D tier. But the Falling Star Beast... Literally, like... I love him. Super dope. Super good fight. Dynamic moveset. Big fucking bull running around the freaking arena. You fight him twice. Or at least I fought him twice. Once in a dungeon and once in the mountain areas. Very cinematic on the volcano mountain. I agree. I agree. Difficult fight. He telegraphs very well. So for those of you that appreciate the telegraphing, he does. Very fast. Offers plenty of times for damage. You can't really bullshit him because you can't bleed him because he's crystal. Pretty much have to use blunt damage on him. Love Falling Star Beast. Super good fight. Super deep. I have a lot of good things to say about that fight. I have a lot of good things to say about that fight. Bell Twins, did I fight you guys? I don't think I did. I think this is one that I may have missed. Because I'm looking at pictures and it's not. This isn't. I think I straight missed this. I think I missed this one. So we'll just put you here, and if I remember later, then yeah. Dragon Lord. So this is the two-headed monster that I fought yesterday. The optional boss in Azula, or the extra one. High C tier. Low B tier. It's fine. It has two redeeming qualities. It's not my favorite dragon fight. It's far from it. It has two redeeming qualities. The arena is fucking awesome. Well, I guess three. He's a big dragon, so he's already. I like dragons. They breathe fire, which is cool. And like the whole scenery of the fight, that adds to it a lot for me. Not difficult. I think I second tried it in my first playthrough. Not the most engaging fight in the world, because they just sort of sputter their two heads around like. But fun fight, I guess. Maybe. I could very well put him in high C tier, but I am okay with low B because of the arena and everything around him. Awesome looking. Teleporting attack is being pretty annoying though. I will say his teleporting slam has a weird AoE to it, where that was difficult for me to dodge out of, but the way that you deal with that is you dodge sideways. Which is weird because it's counterintuitive, but you would think to dodge backwards into him so you can do damage, but the AoE is going off as your roll ends. So sadly, that's not really an option. So I literally fought and killed the Elden Beast in my first playthrough, maybe 10 minutes before starting this tier list. So this guy is straight in my brain. And he goes here. He's very I didn't fight him in getting behind him and stuff. I stayed in front of him and I dealt with his moveset. One of the best arenas in the game. He's a big blob that has lightning and stuff, has a lot of cool moves. Not very engaging. Sadly. I could even put him, nah, the environment adds to it for me. He just doesn't do a lot for me. If you get bad RNG, this is definitely a fight, and this loses a peg for me. Where you can really feel like RNG screws you over. I straight had times where I would go over 2 minutes without being able to do damage to him because he would just keep on doing range attacks and keep on throwing stuff at you. Like literally throwing stuff at you and you can't do anything about it. And then he would just do 55,000 range attacks and I just lay down. A lot of running. He looks like a Pokemon. He does. It's a very tedious fight. I agree with that. I am actually going to move him down. We're going to move him down here. And then we'll move you to high C. Nah, I'm cool with that being there. Took him about 5 hours. I think I got him done in about 3. Elemer of the Briar, get the fuck up to A tier. You are awesome. Get up there. This is the closest thing to, like, in terms of the pace. So this is the fight where you have to just go into his face, roll through his attacks, take advantage of attack windows, learn his mechanics. You can't do a lot. You have to do this fight up close. He is super fast. It is just an adrenaline rush. This Elemer's fight is. It is awesome. It is actually my favorite. I actually prefer it to Nile. It is at the top of A tier for me. It's not S tier because Millennia and Radon are just a little bit of a step higher. But Elemer so far is my favorite. Third favorite boss. Top of the A tier. Very dynamic moveset. Very fast. The area that he is in, maybe not so much. A little poison castle. Fine. But I really, really liked this guy. I think I fought him maybe day 3 of me playing the game, and like he stuck with me. Throwing out the blood sword, his weapon is really cool. He just has a lot. So I don't know his lore, but his arena, the back of it has a massive picture of Millennia. So I wonder if they're related in some way, but I'll need to look more into that. Super cool fight. I loved it. Super, super cool fight. Fia's champion, that's just the 3-part gank fight, right? That's just the, yeah, that's just, with the weapon art. Oh, that's one thing that I'm gonna probably do. In my New Game Plus run is to use that sword and arcane. So yeah, Fia's champion, this is just a bunch of spirits. I remember it, so I mean, I guess I can put it here. It's a set of spirits that ends with 3 of them. It's cool, but you attack it and you attack any other invade. You just sort of keep your distance, run away, and then poke them out. If they do like a long wind-up attack, you can get a backstab. But they were sort of fun. They were sort of fun, like, especially the 3-part, like, when they bring in the 3 different enemies. They're very different. Like, it does force you to sort of think of, what you need to do on the fly. But, I mean, it's fine. It doesn't make me feel one way or the other. Flying Dragon Agil. I mean, it's another dragon fight. I put them with the rest of them. I like this style of dragon fight. Fully grown Falling Star Beast. So is this the one that's on the mountain? Because I think this might be the one in the dungeon, right? This one is the one that's on the mountain. This one's probably the dungeon. They're gonna be next to it. I did not notice a discernible difference between these two. I still loved both of them. I would even be the younger ones around in the dungeons. Yes, yeah. But they're otherwise the same. The only difference is the arena. The quality of the fight doesn't really change. It jumps last minute and you weren't expecting it. Okay, so yeah, they're otherwise identical. So I'll put them in the same tier. Everything I said about the Falling Star Beast applies to the fully grown one. Super sick fight. I liked the arena. Oh, I just found another. I've got another D tier when we get to it. I just noticed this. But, Glintstone Dragon Smarg. So is this the one that you fight at the end of the Ronnie quest line? I'm pretty sure it is, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, it's probably the best of this type of dragon fight. Because it is sort of, it's the hardest because of the type of damage that he does. But otherwise, I put it with the rest of the dragon fights. I think it's good. Godfrey the Gifted. Is this the one that's in the Evergoal? This is the one that's in the Evergoal, correct? Well, yeah, it's purple. It's in the Evergoal. With the magic greatsword attack, so I do bring it up a peg because of that. The Godric Rootkin in Evergoal. Yeah, Godfrey, not Godfrey. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's just phase 1 of Godric. But phase 1 of Godric is also really good. We'll put you here. Come on. Also, I'm gonna change the song. What the fuck is playing? It's the less fun part of Godric, but I like phase 1. He does drop a really good talisman. That is true. That is true. When I get to Godric, which is very close, I'll talk more about him. But yeah, phase 1 of Godric is it's good. It's good. I enjoy it. It's a high B for me. It's a high B for me. Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. Okay. Are we talking both phases, or are we just talking phase 1? Because technically phase 2 has a different name. So I'm looking to see if that name is here. Because if we're talking both, then it really doesn't change my ranking. But I'm not seeing the other guy here. I'm not seeing it starts with an H. So it would be like here. We're just going to say both phases. It is both? Okay. Let's see. Right here. That they're not including the golden version. That's interesting. That was I mean, honestly, that's just phase 1 of the regular Godfrey fight, but in a more enclosed area. That does surprise me. So we'll talk about that one and the other fight. I'm not salty about it. I'm just thinking. I'm putting it here. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. I'm moving Commander Nile down because I do think I prefer the Falling Star Beast. Nile does lose a bit of a peg there. Very readable except Horaloo. Just, dude, we'll. So, okay, so phase 1 of Godfrey, I liked a lot because it is very rhythm based. Like, you can get into your rhythm. You can sort of, like, reset neutral with him when he dashes. You know he's going to do a stomp. And then after that stomp, you can sort of get ready for whatever he's going to do. It's either going to be an overhead slam, or like a slam that hits the ground and goes across. And you can react to both. And it's just that, a bunch. And then every now and then he'll do something different based on what string he chooses to do. It's very rhythmic, and it makes you feel good when you learn the fight and you just sort of do it time and time again. Horaloo, man, I don't know what that fight felt. It legitimately felt like I was fighting against freaking Zangief from Street Fighter. He was just running at you, freaking bear claws up. Actually, I don't even know, man. It was really fun. It was really good, but it didn't feel like I was playing Elden Ring. It was so goofy. It was so goofy. I do have a history of Zangief abuse. It's true. He straight up he felt like an over-the-top fighting game character. But it was really cool. He slammed my face into the ground a lot. He slammed my face into the ground a lot. But it was really cool. I actually enjoyed that fight quite a bit. I prefer Elimer, but Godfrey's up there for me. Godric the Grafted. So this is the full Godric fight. We're gonna put you here. Godric, the first shard bearer that you go up against. I personally got him done my 4th attempt. He is a great introduction to diverse bosses, if that makes sense. His first phase, much like Godfrey, is rhythm based. Once you sort of get a feel for it, you get a feel for it. And then, can we just have a moment of appreciation for the fact that the phase 2 cutscene for Godric is him literally cutting off his own hand and replacing it with a dragon hand, and then using that to kick the shit out of you? Can we just appreciate that for a minute? The spectacle of that fight that alone brings it into A tier. That alone makes it an A tier fight. Got some pretty interesting lore. That is one thing that I'm going to be looking more into as time goes on, He supplied. So I used his Dragon Claw for a substantial portion of my playthrough. That is very true, and it was really fun. I have a lot of Godric was my favorite fight. He was my favorite fight until I fought Elemer, and then all these other fights came along, and I enjoyed them a little bit more. Godric was the first like genuinely great fight in the game for me personally. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Godskin Apostle is going to be low A tier for me. Or Godskin Apostle, sorry. Did you kill the thief after defeating Godric? No, I sort of let him just punt or beat on his head. I didn't do it. I just let him do his thing. If that's who you're referring to, the NPC. If you're thinking of someone else, then well, I still don't think I did. But Godskin Apostle. The first time that I fought him was in the big tower in Caelid. I fought him underleveled, and I think that added to the fight for me because he was a fight that I actually had to really learn his mechanics. Takes a portion of your runes whenever you die. Yeah, maybe I did. Maybe I did. Maybe I did. Yeah, I must have, because I don't know who you're talking about. Unless it is the NPC that stomps on his head. And maybe I just lost 30% of my runes and never noticed. That's actually just something, a mechanic I never saw. Interesting. You didn't, I don't think? Oh. Alright, well, I guess I lost 30% of my runes upon death every time. I just didn't notice it. Interesting. But I guess that's just how deep this game is. I didn't even realize that was a thing. But anyways, he just stays there. Yeah. But yeah, the Apostle was a fight that I actually had to really learn the mechanics for, and it gave me a big appreciation for how diverse he is as a fight. He doesn't really have a ton of bullshit. He's weak to bleed, but a lot of enemies are. He's very weak to bleed, as a matter of fact. He punishes healing because his fireball, he times that with your heals, and you really can't just heal from a distance because he will hit you with the fireball. He forces you to really track when you need to heal, track when you need to attack, stuff like that. And then whenever he does his like extendo arm attacks in his second phase, you can punish them for it pretty easily. The Apostle far more fair than his counterpart. I agree, but we'll get to that in a bit. Because I have an interesting take that I'm sure we're going to be getting into right now. Actually, no. We're going to do the Noble first. The Noble, I'm putting above him, though. I like the Noble more than I like the Apostle. The reason why is because the Noble is more diverse in his moveset. And he actually does have attacks that require you to do more work to avoid, but they leave you with wider attack windows when you avoid them. Pretty much any slam that he has is fully punishable. Something that I realized is he will sometimes, his most bullshit attack is probably a move that doesn't really have a windup, where he just hits you with his belly and knocks you down. But to counter that, if that hits you and knocks you down and it's in his second phase, every single time he will follow that up with an insanely telegraphed overhead slam. And if you time that right, you can just roll it and punish the shit out of him for doing it. So yeah, that move is kind of nonsense, but it also has a little bit of fairness to it, and I think that balances it out. I like the Noble. He's very diverse, makes you really think. You have to learn his moveset. First time I fought him was at the very top of the Carrion Tower, and he still hit me at the end. Oh, his freaking roll. Yeah, the roll took me a long time to figure out how to avoid. You literally have to dodge into it. Okay. So I have, before we get to the Godskin duo, I want to have a special shout out to that one random dungeon that requires you to kill both of these guys one after the other. It's the Apostle and then the Noble. That was a really cool idea. I appreciated that dungeon. Maybe not at the time. I like it more. I like it now. That was one of the, that was a memorable dungeon for me. All right, I've got a bit of a take for the Godskin duo, which is, if you don't know, there is a place in the late game where you fight both of these two at the same time. They share a health pool, but they also have their own individual health. Had a cool samurai armor set too. He did. It did. They have a shared health pool, but they also have their own individual health bars. After you kill one, you can fight one of them one-on-one for a bit. And that one will eventually respawn the other, and it becomes another gank fight. A lot of people fucking hated this fight. I did not. I did not like it as much as fighting them individually. But I think they are probably here. I like the idea. Now, they do suffer from the same issue that these gargoyles dealt with, in that they didn't communicate with each other and they all did their own random thing. However, they're still really easy to keep track of, and you actually have a strategy you can use for these two. What my strategy was the first thing I did was I immediately melted the Noble. I was using my +10 Mimic as a crutch. That's fair. That's fair. I didn't summon at any point. I summoned one time in my entire playthrough, and that was to solve a puzzle for a tower, and I had to summon for it. That's the only time I summoned anything for the in the entire game. So I fought these guys straight up. It's cheesable with the pillars. That is true. Look, and one of the good things about the fight is the fact that you can use the pillars to guard yourself from the Fat Boy's phase 2 roll, and to sort of keep yourself out of line of sight of fireballs, so you can sort of you have a better chance of healing up. But the strategy that I used was I immediately melted the Noble, and then just went ham on the Apostle, whittled down that health to the extent that I could. And I just tried to keep it as a 1v1 as the other one was being revived. But you had to play it incredibly aggressively. Borderline maybe too aggressive. But that's what I did, and it worked out fine. I also used 2 bleed katanas, which I'm sure helped. But I didn't hate it. I thought it was actually a neat idea. Maybe not executed perfectly, but I still thought it was fun. I didn't have too much of a problem with it. But if you hated it, I get it. I 100% get it. Grafted Scion. So this was the very first, but this was the guy that you, for the introductory boss, right? Yeah, it is. I'll give him. He's probably a middle of the pack B tier boss. I think I prefer all the dragons. I prefer the Crucible Knights. Prefer you. I'll probably put you right above the Erdtree Avatar. I'll be honest, I don't remember too much of his moveset. I do remember him being pretty challenging, and I remember him sort of being really eclectic and all over the place, but I don't really have like tips to sort of deal with it. He did have one move where he did like a that ended in like a forward stab where he walked towards you. I dodge into that, and then I would get hits in, but he's very weird. And I think that's cool. He's very he makes you very uncomfortable. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing, and if you beat him as an introductory boss, good on you, because he's not easy. He's not easy. He's very aggressive. He is. That is very true. Grave Warden Duelist. So you actually fight this guy a few times. They're all more or less the same. Some of them have a different weapon, but they more or less act the same. And some of them have different status effects that they inflict. I think of them in a similar way that I do the Black Knife Assassin. They're a little less. I'll literally, if I could tie them, then I could. But it's another very rhythm-based fight. Another rhythm-based fight, because he attacks at very similar timings, and it's easy to just sort of get into a flow with him. And also, you can sort of just stagger him. Reverting to the place where you fight two at once. I know you at one point you do fight two.
Look at that hunt.
Yo,
Spicy.
Vessery, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I guess you do fight two at once at one point too. I'm more so thinking about all the times you fight them 1v1. But they're all pretty much in the same boat for me. So they're fine. I don't have a problem with them. They're fun. They're fun. They're just not special. Not special. Kindred of Rot, technically, they're not a boss. But I hate them. They're not a boss in the technical sense. They're a regular enemy. You fight them as a boss one time. Least favorite enemy in the game. I gank you a low level poison. I think I remember that. Fuck this enemy. Special place and get the fuck out of here. I hate him. Least favorite common enemy in the game, and not much better as a boss. Never ran into them myself. You should feel better for it. Not much to say, just not very good. As it turns out, my second least favorite boss in the game, if you want to call him that. At least the fire giant. It was terrible, but it was slightly less absolutely mind-numbingly ugh. You know? Leonin Misbegotten. So this guy, you fight him a few times. You get a really cool sword from the first time I fought him. You get a really cool sword. I'm trying to think. I think I'll put him right above the Grafted Scion. Right above the undodgeable bulls. Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. Yeah, yeah, literally just like the things that just like they go like, and then they have like 55 projectiles that you have to dodge. Those, they show up as a boss sometimes, so they're here. Who was I talking about? Leonin. Pretty cool. I have nothing wrong with him. Fun moveset. Very fun moveset. I'm actually tempted to move him up. Do I want... Yeah, I'm gonna move him up. Right here. I'm cool with him being above Bloodhound. Getting a special dagger? Yeah. This guy... Decent enough moveset. You can stun him. You can stagger him a bit. He has a very diverse moveset. It's not difficult per se, but he's fun. I appreciated him. I think he's the best boy, and you get a really, really neat, great sword the first time you face him in the castle area. At least the first time I faced him. He's fun. I actually really liked him. And he gets reused in a lot of other areas many times, not even as a boss fight. At no point was I like, oh my god, I need to fight this guy again. You know? You know? Alright, Lich Dragon. You, my friend, get the fuck up to A tier. Yes, sir. I like you more than Godric. Favorite dragon fight in the game. So cool in so many ways. Probably the hardest dragon fight in the game too. Oh, by far the hardest dragon fight in the game. His moveset's sick. The arena's sick. He has red lightning all over the place. He does have curse, but you know, we don't worry about that. He's a big black dragon that does cool stuff. He's my favorite dragon fight in the game. Super aggressive. He has a lightning blade. He flies really high. The scenery is S tier. It's so good. So good. I really love this fight. I almost missed him in my first playthrough. And I'm really glad that I didn't. Super fun. Super great things. So more placid than I did. Fair enough. Fair enough. This was definitely my because I think I got placid done on my second or my third try. Lich Dragon took me like 40, closer to an hour to finish. Very fun fight. I have a very high opinion of this fight. It's another fight that does tank your frame rate, but that's okay. That just means there's a lot going on and it's fun. Lion Guardian, you fight him a few times. He'll go right below the dragons. He'll go below the Crucible Knight, right above the Leonin. I'm cool with that. It's fun. Diverse moveset. He jumps around like a cat does. He has his blade on the side. You really have to be careful, knowing when and when you can't heal. He does sort of do the thing that a lot of bosses do, where after you think he's done with his attack strings, he'll just have one more move because fuck you in the string. But yeah, I enjoyed this one. Okay, so now we are on to Loretta. We're actually going to talk about Royal Knight Loretta first. There really isn't much of a difference between the Royal Knight Loretta and then the Haligtree Loretta, is there? I can't think of any discernible difference off the top of my head. It doesn't matter. They're both going in the A tier. It's my favorite horse fight in the game. Stage health in phase 2. I guess Loretta doesn't really have a phase 2. I'll put you at the top of B tier. I'll put you with Dragonkin Soldier. I think that's good. Loretta is straight A tier. My favorite horse fight in the game. Does a lot of range stuff. Fair enough. And he does sort of make you wait, but more arrows in phase 2 places. That's right. That's true. That's true. That's true. The Royal Knight Loretta is a good way to get you ready for the Haligtree version. I'm mostly going to talk about the Haligtree version because it's just a beefed up version of the Royal Knight version. Loretta is my favorite horse fight in the game. The most special for me, like the most special in terms of movesets, abilities, stuff like that. I'm actually thinking if I want to move him up. I think I'm happy with, I think I like both of the god skins more. Yeah, I think I do. No, I'm moving you above, I'm moving you here. Yeah, that's where he's gonna be. All of the horse fights in the game have more or less like the same base move set. They like to jump at you, they like to slam their things on you, and they like to kill you. Loretta is different in that he has more, or he has the arrows, has spells, and has other moves. I like him. I like his design. I think the stage is cool. You fight him relatively close to the end game, so by the time you get to him, you already have like a good note of the combat flow of the game, and it's just applying it to a fight that you need to be precise on because he does a lot of damage. But he offers plenty of windows for moves if you dodge correctly and properly. He's not really gimmicky or anything like that, and he's not unfair. And he's not frustrating. I hold Loretta in high regard, so he's an A tier boss for me. Mad Pumpkinhead. He's a dude. He's mad, and he has a pumpkin on his head. He sometimes hits you in the head, or hits his head on the ground, and that's about as cool as it, and that's about as interesting as it gets. A gimmick to punish, yeah, pretty much. Mimic Tear. Is your build bullshit? If so, this fight's bullshit. Otherwise... So this fight's actually kind of broken, and not necessarily in a good way. When I fought the Mimic Tear... When I fought the Mimic Tear, he was just sort of just standing there. Like literally just standing, like he just wasn't working properly. I will say that because of the whole he is copying your character. Why the get the fuck down here? Why do I have him there? There. He's going to be the best of the summoned fights. And we're actually going to move you down below all of these guys. Kind of fun to find myself. That's sort of what I was thinking too. He's just not, I don't think the fight is working as intended right now. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. That is the only thing. Undress it and then redress and bam. Right. The blight, the blighted bloom. It's a flower. Just get a fire that. Honestly, it's a flower with gank mobs. Then I don't really see a reason to put her anywhere else. Actually, I did. I think that I actually did fight this. I just fought. I remember this fight. I did it leveled up. I came back later and found this cave and did it. I remember this. Yeah. He's there. She's there. It's there. It's a flower, get a fire weapon. It's not engaging, but it's not awful. It just sort of exists. To a lesser extent than all the other seizure bosses. Moog the Omen. So this is the it's a basic enemy, exactly. It's there. Moog the Omen is a high B tier. This is the one that you find in the dungeon. It's just phase 1 of Moog. Very fun. Very fun. Another rhythm-based fight where you sort of, once you get the timing down, you get to the flow of it. It's really fun. I really like him. He's just really fun to sort of get the rhythm down. And to prepare you for the big cheese who is going right here. I love Moog. He is so fucking sick. He is so fucking sick. I love this fight. Everything about the Omen version, the dungeon version, phase 1 is just that. So, fighting the Omen version, if you do it for first, sets you up well for phase 1 of this fight. The elephant in the room with the Lord of Blood version is obviously the fact that he takes away, that he rebuilds his health in that 3 knee heel part move. And if you don't care for that, that's fine. I think it's a cool mechanic. And apparently there's a way for you to get a tear that eliminates that. I didn't get it. Phase 2 of this fight is actually insane. Scenery of it, awesome. He flies around and does fire, and that's cool. He's really, really hard. He's really hard, and he is not... If you're going to dock him points, you would dock him because he is not forgiving. Phase 2 of this fight is not forgiving in the slightest. Though I do find it interesting that a blood-based boss is weak to bleed. Weird, but he is. But yeah, the Lord of Blood version of Moog, super good. I really, really enjoy that fight. I really enjoy that fight. At no point, I said that he's unforgiving, but at no point did I feel that he was bullshit. Sometimes you can sort of feel that way when he throws the fire all over the place, but you can space yourself properly to where it's not as much of a problem, and he will eventually jump towards you and it doesn't become an issue. He's still flesh or something? Yeah, but it's still weird that you can bleed him. It's weird. I wish you couldn't. It's weird, but I understand why you can. But yeah, I love... Moog's great. Moog is a great fight. Obviously, right, currently I have him as top 5, so... I can already tell you, based on some of the bosses that I can see, he's not staying there. Magma Worm. I am going to put you... Because you fight Magma Worm a few times in the game, and I enjoyed him every single time. I think I'm gonna put you here. He's a dragon. He spews fire. It's magma, actually. It's not fire. He does this move where he sort of builds up magma in his mouth and then just sort of walks. Not a fan of that move in particular, but everything else, he's just another fun boss to just sort of swing your sword at, sort of like the Erd Tree avatar, but a little bit more enjoyable for me than that. And again, at no point did I feel like, oh my god, I need to fight this guy again. You also get a really cool sword. The dungeon where you get the Moon Veil, that's a Magma Worm fight, right? You also get his great sword, which is a weapon that I used for a significant portion of the playthrough, and it's a really fun weapon to use. It's a really fun weapon to use. Yeah, that's what I thought. I never used the Moon Veil, but yeah. Very enjoyable, just sort of palate cleanse. I think the Magma Worm's a good palate cleansing fight. Not really difficult. You just sort of wail on him, but also you can't just go unga bunga in the brain on him. You need to think a little bit. Malekith, but you're right here. Right here. I fought him like 4 times. I did. Malekith would be higher if phase 2 started sooner. Phase 1 of the fight is fun. Dynamic moveset. It's one where once you can sort of his main string is sort of like an overhead type of thing, and then he can do one of 2 moves. He'll either do like a quick two piece into either another 2-piece shrapnel, or he'll just throw the shrapnel, and you can sort of go off of that string and he will go off of that string. So it's a very rhythm-based fight, and it's fun. I just wish it stopped sooner, because phase 2 of Malekith's fight is a top 4, if not top 3 fight. It is so much fun. maybe not the hardest in the world, but it is just fun. It is like the definition of rhythm based, but it also throws you off because some of his overhead, well, so he has 3 different overhead moves, one of which he will hit the ground and then eventually he will do a shockwave, jump up and jump backwards. He will do one that is sort of like an earthquake where you need to dodge twice immediately when he comes down, and then he'll do an earthquake again. You dodge both of those, then you get a hit in. And then a third, which does like a whiplash, sort of like the one whiplash move that Millennia has. That one I never really learned how to deal with. The other 2 I did. I just really like, Malekith is a great example of a big boss that does not move like a big boss. He moves like an enemy half his size, and he is so much better for it. It also helps that he has the best armor set in the game in terms of looks. For me, his armor set looks awesome. I really enjoyed the Malekith fight. He's a very, very good endgame fight. He's one of those put it all together and do it fights, sort of like Millennia, and that he requires you to sort of, you have to have played the game to this point because he's very diverse in his moveset. But he's also very fair in that after you dodge the moves properly, you have enough time to get hits in, and in many times you actually can get a hits in the middle of his combos, which is really neat. I also like the mechanic of whenever he hits you with his fire in his second phase, your max health goes down and you burn out too. I think that's a really good mechanic that adds a lot of diversity to the fight. I completely forgot to mention the fact that Millennia fucking heals herself, because there are a lot of parallels between these 2 fights for me personally. They share a couple of moves and then just have interesting mechanics that make you approach the fight differently. Millennia with her healing herself, and then Malekith with his taking your max health away. It makes you fundamentally approach the fight in a different way, where you have to be more patient with when you do attack, but those opportunities are there if you take the time to learn it, and it's awesome. Malekith's phase 2 just needed to happen a little bit sooner, and I would put it above Godfrey, because I enjoy phase 2 of Malekith than any portion of Godfrey. It's just not long enough. Margit. So Margit is an interesting one because he's clearly an early game boss, but he is the early game boss that introduces you to how Elden Ring works. If you played Dark Souls 3, you'll know sort of what I'm going at. Elden Ring very much plays like the Nameless King does in Dark Souls 3. What do I mean by that? The Nameless King was difficult in Dark Souls 3, not because of his speed, but because of his the diversity of his mechanics and his timings. His timings were all over the place in that fight in comparison to other Dark Souls 3 fights. Margit is the introduction telling you that every boss is like that. And I think he does it very well. He is parryable. You have a lot of options with him. He's Elden Ring's slow wind up and lightning fast execution. Exactly. I wouldn't go as far as say that he is Elden Ring's Pontiff, because I feel like he's too early game and he's not as fast as Pontiff. With wolves and a rock sling. I mean, it's true. You can beat Margit in a lot of different cheesable ways, but at the same time, I think that's okay because he's early game. The placement in the game means something to me for this. Yeah, there are a lot of different ways to beat him, but he's really good at introducing you to the game's mechanics and how bosses work in Elden Ring. And he has a phase 2, and his stuff does change, but it's not a ton. Sort of like the Crucible Knight. If you didn't fight the Crucible Knight, this is the boss that tells you that bosses behave differently when their health goes down lower. And I think FromSoft did very well with that. For that reason and for his placement in the game, I'll put him in A tier. If he was anywhere else in the game, because of the numerous options you have against him and the different ways you can beat him, he would probably be mid B, if not low B. But because of where he is in the game and what he teaches the player, I'm fine with having him low A. I think that's sort of what I'm gonna do. All right, Morgott, you get right here. I love Morgott. Super good. He is Margit without the bullshit and a lot faster, and does bleed. You don't have the same options against Morgott that you get against Margit. Morgott requires you to play at his pace, and it's a lot faster. He has a lot. Like Margit, he has the delays and the weird timings, but he's also faster. He's faster and slower. And it took me a really long time to sort of get a feel for this fight, but when I did and I got into the rhythm, it was great. Morgott is just a solid Elden Ring boss, and I'm actually really happy. He doesn't have like a special arena or anything along those lines, and he doesn't have like explosions or anything like that. He is just a good fight, a good, aggressive, fast-paced fight that is balanced well, punishing but also forgiving. And the fact that his freaking sword does bleed is... I used his greatsword, his curved greatsword, for a little bit there. It was fun, but I used it for a bit, and then I started going dual katana, and that was sort of what I ended the playthrough with. But Morgott was fun. He's just a fun, good fight. A faster version of Margit without the bullshit. Chef's kiss. Good fight. Very good fight. Placement in the game, fighting him right defeating Golden Godfrey. His placement was very good. Morgott was a very good signal that, hey, the mid game is about to finish. You're about to get into the end game. He is a very good gateway boss in that regard. Now that I think about it, his placement in the game is actually perfect. His placement's actually perfect. That's a very good point. But yes, I still prefer Nile. I prefer both of the Falling Star Beasts, but I prefer him to, well, yeah, I like where I have him. Knights Cavalry. You fight you fight these guys. I fought him. I fought him twice. Probably, I mean, he's a regular horse fight that has a couple different moves. We're gonna put you right here. He's fine. Fun. Nothing special. As a horse fight, he has a couple different moves. Like, he has like a wind up move with his horse going, and it's like a whoosh whoosh 3-part move. Other than that, he doesn't really have anything special compared to other horse fights, which the horse fights are just, they're solid. So I like having him there. There's like 7, they're all the same. Say high C personally. That's fair. I just think that the baseline horse fight is good enough to put him there. And I also don't I prefer this to the actual Dragon Lord fight. I'm gonna move you down. You see, now I'm thinking. I'm gonna move you down here. You two. You both get to move. You both get to move down. I actually think I like you more. Yeah, I'm cool with that. You take out one to the north. Yeah, I agree. I just think I think the horse fights are just solid, and this is an addition to them, and we're cool with that. We're cool with that. Now the Nox duo, I'll admit to not knowing this one. I will admit to not knowing this one. Is this like one of those sword and... Is this one of those like sword and spell gank fights? You didn't fight them? Okay. Omen Killer? Yeah. He's a dude. The Nox Monks and Nokrin? Probably. Omen Killer? He's a dude. He exists. He'll be at the top of C though, because he has a decent enough move set. Yeah, we'll just put him there. I'm okay with having you here. Omen Killer? He's just, I mean, he has a move set. He exists. In terms of the enemies and bosses that exists, I will say that he's the most dynamic in the list so far, so I'm okay with having him in C tier. The top of C tier, rather. But not above C tier. Patches. So I'm going to give Patches a B. Not because he's any different from any other of these fights, but because it's fucking Patches, and the fact that they made him into a boss fight is actually really cool. He gets a special award to go up to B tier because of who he is. When I realized, like it was one of those, I went into the cave and I went into the room and I heard him talking and I was like, no fucking way. And then I fucking fought him and I was like, oh, that's so cool. It was really cool. It was a really nice surprise. I'm really glad that he's in the game. The name alone puts him in B tier. I cannot put him below that. I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this. The Onyx Lord? I know when I... Oh, it's this dude. He exists. We'll put him here. He's just a regular enemy that they gave a boss health bar to. He exists, but he's a little bit more dynamic than a lot of these guys. He exists. There's nothing more that really needs to be said. He does. There is something that needs to be said, and I'll move him up one spot for this. He does have the cool spells. The Radon-like spells. I'll give him that. Fair enough. He has a boss's spell set. I will give him that much. And he will move up by one spot because of that. I'm okay with this. Gravity spells. Exactly. So the perfumer... Oh, this is... Okay, so this is just another freaking spellcaster. This is just a regular enemy. I'm offended that this guy's on the tier list. I understand that he has a... Nah, get the fuck down here. I'm offended they made that this guy's here. Not offended enough to put him in D, but offended that he's there. It's not a freaking boss, it's just a dude. Get to the bottom of C tier. You don't make me mad. You're not a D tier enemy. Come on now. The Putrid Tree Spirit. This is the one that does rot, right? If that's the case, we're just gonna put you one spot above the Erdtree avatar. Oh wait, no, I take that back. Oh no, these are the fucking no, completely different enemy. Why don't we put you back down here? No, these are the freaking big tree wood boys that go all over the place. I have a different opinion of those guys. These are the tree boys that you fight a bunch in the game, right? The big tree worms, exactly. They're low A for me. I actually really enjoy fighting them. I think they're neat. And so my favorite, so I'm gonna put all the tree spirits together. Some of them were putrid, some of them were just normal. My favorite one was the one that you fought in the dungeon at the start of the game where you need the stone sword key for when you take the right before the elevator to go up to the lands between. That tree spirit is my favorite because I actually preferred fighting them in the closed spaces because it was really it makes it really clustered and uncomfortable, and I think that adds a lot to the fight. But I'm gonna put all of them in the same ranking and say bottom of A tier. I think that's fine. I think that's good. All right. Radagon of the Golden Order. So this is phase 1 of the final boss in the game. You are going to go here. It is a very fun rhythm-based fight, meaning once you learn the moveset and you know what he's doing and you know how to respond to his moves, it's very fun to get into the flow of combat with him. He's not the most mechanically diverse boss in the game, but he has plenty of mechanics to him. Hey Roomba, thank you for the follow. I really appreciate that. Welcome on in. Thank you for the follow. Seriously, I mean, that means a lot to me. Thank you. He is not a mechanically diverse boss. He's not really meant to be. He's fast. He gets up in your face. He does have weird timings, but they're not that difficult compared to other bosses to learn. He does a lot of damage. That said, if you attack at the wrong time, he punishes healing almost better than almost any other boss in the game. I think the only boss that punishes healing better than Radagon is Millennia. They punish healing in very similar ways. Because as soon as you start that, or you press that button, they do an attack that is guaranteed to hit you before you're able to roll if you do it in a certain range and off of certain attacks. Both Millennia and Radagon do that very well. So you have to really, so he forces you, if you take a hit, to think about when you want to heal. Usually it is after you dodge his next attack. So he forces you to continue to play the game and to play him close. Because you can't really go backwards on him, otherwise his AoEs are going to hit you. I put him in low A because the second half of the fight is just projectile spam for like 45 seconds. And I'm just standing there and dodging even though I know I can't hit him. And I don't like that. It would be higher if that wasn't there. I am going to move you above the Apostle, though I actually do like you more than the Apostle. Solid fight. Could be better. Could definitely be worse. Red Wolf of Radagon. I think this is a great example of a... let me think. Okay, so I'm gonna make a couple of changes. One, I'm gonna move the magma worm below all the other dragon fights. And now I need to think. And I think I'm gonna move Red Wolf right above Worm. Yes, I think I think I'm happy with that. Red Wolf is cool. You fight him a few times, but I'm gonna focus mainly on the one that you fight in the academy. Though you can fight him a few times. I think he's cool. I think he's fun. Nice diverse moveset. If you know his patterns, then you know when you can punish him. He's not the most mechanically diverse fight in the game. Reminds me of Sif. Very, very high Sif vibes. I wonder if he has dope lore. That would be cool. I like the fact that he has pretty neat spells. He is a very quick boy. He jumps at you a lot. He has bite attacks that are easy to punish if you know that they're coming. He gives you windows, but at the same time, he punishes healing if you do it at the wrong time. And he punishes bad positioning. He punishes bad positioning and roll spam because of his ability to cover ground quickly. High damage, low health. He is a glass cannon of a boss. It is true. Susceptible to bleed, sadly, but then again, most bosses are. The arena, again, I agree with you there, Vesserai, in that it does make you fight him in a very claustrophobic arena. Telegraphs well. I also agree with that. I'm actually, do I want to move? You guys are convincing me to move him up. I'll move him above the dragons. I'll move him above the duo. I'll move him above O'Neal. He's better than this. This is gonna go down. I'm cool with... Yeah. I actually moved him up a lot. You know what? I'm moving him up to A tier. Yeah. I'm moving him up to A tier. I like that move. He belongs there. He belongs there. He belongs there. He belongs there. For all the reasons that we said. I guess I did sort of lose appreciation for how much I enjoyed that fight. He's the best fast boy. He's pretty early. You do fight him pretty early on. Yeah. I guess I sort of lost appreciation for how much I enjoyed fighting him. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Rykard. Okay, so I feel like this boss is going to be one of the more love him or hate him type of bosses. So before I actually give him the ranking, I will say this. As of the recording of this video, you are able to Omega Cheese this guy. In phase 2, you can spam the weapon art and he can't do anything. He stuns after 2 hits every single time. So you don't have to deal with him. I did not do that because I didn't know you could do that. I fought him straight up. Even if you fight him straight up, I still feel like he's going to be polarizing. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, well, now you know. I did get to the academy a bit over leveled. That is true. That is part of what made me lose appreciation for the Red Wolf. That's actually a good point. Because that was when I was dragon hunting. By the way, dragon hunting is not... When I say dragon hunting, just for reference, I don't actually mean hunting for dragons. Like... When I would go off into freaking nowhere in search of a cave or some random stuff, and on the stream we called that dragon hunting because that was the first thing I did in the game, and I found a dragon. It's my unmedicated lack of aid. Yes, exactly. It just takes the form of dragon hunting. That's the term we use. So yeah, I went dragon hunting and over-leveled a bit for the academy. That made me lose appreciation for the Red Wolf. But getting back to Rykard, I feel like even if you don't cheese Rykard, he is going to be a very polarizing fight. there will be people that don't like him because there's, especially in phase 2, there is so much going on in that fight. There's so much. The skulls, man. Oh my god. The fucking skulls made me want to be sad. It was so much to handle. But then there will be people like me who actually did like the fight because of the scenery of it, the environment of it. It's just, it is like a set piece among set pieces. This is very much the Yorm of Elden Ring in that it is a massive gimmick fight, but unlike Yorm, the gimmick is enjoyable. You just freaking poke him in the face and you got the mechanics to deal with. And I think the fight has a really cool atmosphere. I will give him the highest B that I can give. So second lowest 8. Because of his significance in the game, I will give him that. But he's not going above Red Wolf. It's also not missable. It's true. He straight up gives you this weapon. If you talk to an NPC, he says, there is this weapon that is in this arena. Use it. And then the game literally gives you the weapon right next to the door as you enter the arena. And it's like, use this. I'm cool with him being at the bottom of A tier. Low A tier, I think is fine. The Scaly Misbegotten. The Scaly Misbegotten. Oh, it's just one of these dudes that exists. Oh, it's this dude. Yeah, he Omega exists to the point that I don't understand why he's here. He's a dude. He is the bottom tier of just a dude. But he's not as much of a low tier just a dude as the just the dudes below them on C tier. Also, you know what? I was thinking about moving you down. I will let the flower stay and bloom up bloom in its wonderful area of mediocrity. And it's great. Sir Gideon of Nier. He is probably the best just a dude in the game. Lore significance for sure. He has roughly 7 health points and is stupendously susceptible to bleed, to the point where I just wailed on him with the weapon or the rivers of blood and he died in 5 seconds. He is the best just a dude in the game. Easily. I don't really think there's much more to say about him in terms of him as a boss. The Soldier of Godric. Another... Oh, this is the fucking dude in the tutorial. Technically, dude, right. Do you remember the more Sharbearers and Demigods you beat and tell them about the more spells? Yeah, that I was gonna say. I mentioned that in my playthrough. It's that the more I told him, he learned all the spells that I told him that. Yeah. I think that might be that's cool. It makes him by far the best just a dude in the game. S tier meme. Oh my god. Do you remember the very first day that I played this game, Mongo? And I backstabbed this dude and you got worried because you thought that all the bosses were gonna be this way? Don't worry, I was too. But no. I'm offended to have to put this guy on the tier list. You'll go here. You'll go here. Sure. He's just the regular enemy, and they just slapped the head. He's a tutorial boss. If I'm putting... No, he's not offensive. He doesn't make me angry. He doesn't make me angry. He is just a dude. He is at the bottom of the just a dude tiers. He is a regular enemy that they put a freaking thing on. He's not a waste of space. I guarantee you, there is someone that died to him. I know for a fact there is someone that has never played a From Software game that died to him. Probably thought he was really hard. To that person, I really, really hope you kept playing this game because it's really, really good. And I'm sure you're doing fantastic and you got Margaret on your first try. Or you didn't and you kept on going. I really hope that you're still playing this game though, because it's really good. And not every fight is like this one. Jesus. He's a meme. 100% a meme, but it's a good meme. Spirit Collar Snail. Is this just the snail that spawns other... Is this a boss? Technically, it's a boss. Yes, technically, it's a boss. Wait. So, you fought the Spirit Collar Snail in that one dungeon where you had to kill the two Godskin dudes back to back. Do we want to rate that fight individually, or do we want to just rate the snail? Because the snail technically has a boss health bar. Or do we want to rank the Godskin fight leading up to it too? Because obviously those two fights have completely different rankings if we look at it in one of them, depending on which way we look at it. Rank it all? Okay. If we are basing the Spirit Collar Snail fight based on the Godskin duo, like having to take out both the Godskins, it's probably going right below Radagon. Right below Radagon, above the Godskin Apostle. Because it is very high stakes. You have incredibly low margin for error. Well, I guess technically it... No, I would... Well, it's because it's Noble Plus, isn't it? No, but... How dare you? Let me finish. I understand you're the one person in the world with a lower attention span than I do. But just wait a second. I'll get there. If we are ranking it based on having to kill both the Godskin dudes back to back, you'll probably go here. Right here. However, I am going to place him just based on the snail. And only killing the snail. Still a better fight than Fire Giant. That's how much I dislike the Fire Giant. I'd rather just kill one of those dudes than do it. And I'm not kidding. Okay. So now we are getting into the Deer Boys. We're going to do regular Deer Boy, and then we'll do the Regal one. Ancestor Spirit is atop the B tier. Atop the B tier. 100%. Atop the B tier. It's a great introductory fight. And even if it was the only deer fight, it would still be very solid. It would be very solid. Not the hardest boss in the world, doesn't have the highest health in the world. Has a dynamic move set, He spews magical fire stuff on the ground, which is fun. He does kick you in the back. Like if he butt kicks you if you're behind him. I don't know why I like bosses that do that. I don't know. I just think it's I don't understand why that is something that was notable, but it was. And he prances around like a horse. What more is there to like? Solid. Doesn't have the biggest damage in the world. Very punishable once you learn the moveset. You can get you get very free hits with him. Little wonky hitbox, but that's okay. He's telegraphs well. He is good for people that are learning the game and get down to the lower area early on. He's a good fight for that. The Regal Ancestral Spirit is straight A tier right here. Real Ancestral Spirit isn't a deer. He's a deer. He's a roly-poly. He's a lion. He's a bull. He's a bunch of animals at the same time. He does a bunch of other moves in addition to the moveset of Ancestor Spirit. He's also a bird. He's really cool. Again, not the hardest in the world, but the environment around it, the soundtrack of it is great. A rendition of Wizard of Oz. There you go. Solid. I like it. It's fun. It's fun. It is probably like another example of a fight that you can just sort of whack a bunch, but you have to think about how you whack a bunch. But you can whack a bunch. It's fun. Neat mechanics. Higher damage. You need to be more careful. And yeah, he's just like the entire jungle, but one animal. Peter would be very proud of this boy. Peter would not be proud of Godfrey, by the way. I didn't mention the fact that he murders his wolf and you don't get to fight the wolf. That's a disappointment. Peter would not appreciate Godfrey. He would appreciate the real Ancestor Spirit, though. That is an actual disappointment to me with the Godfrey fight. I wish we could do I wish you could fight. I wish he had wolf moves, but he doesn't. And that's fine. Renala. Renala is gonna have an interesting ranking for me because the fight's not very engaging, but everything else is good. Like the fight, okay, so like literally the first phase of the Renala fight, you're just beating up on a bunch of kids. I don't know who at From Software thought that. Well, I mean, it's not the first time you've done that in a From Software game. Phase 1 of fight is like ROM and Bloodborne, but somehow less engaging. You just find the 3 kids that are yellow, and then you wail the thing. Phase 2, on the other hand, different story. Phase 2 is probably my favorite looking arena in the game. I am going to judge the Renala fight based solely on Phase 2 because Phase 1 is so free. You really should get to Phase 2 just about every time. Phase 2 looked awesome. Had a decent amount of challenge. Renala had some speed, not hard, but you know, like she summoned a bunch of enemies that could really hurt your feelings. She threw the moon at you. Like what? She is straight upper B tier for me. I will put her, because of the environment and the experience, I will put her right above all of the dragon fights. I'll put her above the Godskin duo. I'm okay with that. The Royal Revenant. Is this the... okay. I know who this is. And he is very rude. Royal Revenant is just a fucking bully. The Royal Revenant is just a bully. Like, he is... If there was ever a boss or an enemy in the game that I just physically and mentally don't understand, it's this one. Royal Revenant confuses me. His moveset confuses me. Everything about him confuses me. He's erratic. He's weird. And that weirdness makes him mid-B for me. Right below the dragons. Right below the Crucible Knight. I think the weirdness really does add to it. But I'm going to move him down just a little. Okay, I'm going to do another rearrange. We're going to move Bloodhound above you, Leonin here, and then we'll move you here. How did you like the 5 gank Royal Revenants in the Howling Tree? You remember I didn't do that. I didn't do the 5 gank one. I walked over it, got the thing, and then ran past it. I didn't do that. I'm not that dumb. I'm not that dumb. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in the Haligtree Castle area leading up to Millennia, if you go all the way to the ground floor, you can do a gauntlet of 5 consecutive Royal Revenants leading up to a Stone Sword Fog Gate thing, which gives you a really neat talisman. I did not do the 5 Royal Revenants, because if that was the case, I would still be doing it today, and I would not have even made it to Millennia yet. I'm not that dumb. I just jumped to the end. Rune Bear? The bears are cool, man. I actually do like the bears are fun. Bears are another... Dude, oh my god. Okay, so... The first time that I've been doing invasions for a bit of fun. If they're fighting a boss, I'll leave them be, but I keep getting put in with 3 players. Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Yeah, I was gonna get to that story. So, this was either day 1 or day 2 of my playthrough of this game. I was in the Mistwood running around on the horses, and I hadn't really fought the bears yet. And they have little legs. What do you want me to say? They have little legs. So I pointed out the fact they skipped leg day. I ran past them, got about 30 feet away, and then just got fucking smacked. I turned around. I didn't know how fast those things were. It was actually crazy how fast that thing was. It was funny. But the bears are fun. Bears are cool. Bears are cool. I'll put them here. No, I'll put them here. Yeah. 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 That's cool. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Stone Digger Troll. It exists. Where's the other troll that I had? That's where it's going. Where was that? Right here? No, but... No, you're going down. Down, 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 down. Put you here. Yeah. I guess it doesn't matter because they all just exist, right? It's a troll that you have to two-hand your weapon for. But it's a good early game boss for it because it's one of the first dungeons that you go into. But it's a troll that you need to two-hand your weapon for. You've probably fought a few of them before you got to this dungeon. Whatever you did then, do the same thing. Just two-hand your weapon. You're good to go. The Tibia the Johnny Depps. The Johnny Depps. We made that joke because pirate. Not really, but he looks a bit. He's on a little boat in the water, so he said he's a pirate. The Tibia Mariner, I mean, honestly, it's like it doesn't have. It exists, but it exists slightly less than Sir Gideon did. They're cool. I like their design. They have big horns and they go boop boop, and then they slam their boat on you. What more can you want out of a skeleton? Tree Sentinel, basic, very, very, very basic horse fight. It has to go at the bottom of B. It's just a regular horse fight. I just like the base horse fights. I'm fine with you being at the bottom of B. It's average. I think that's good. Worm face. What do you look like? Oh, that's a boss? I'm offended that you're here. It's an enemy. Your existence offends me. Your existence offends me. You get to be there. No, you get to be there. You're still better than Fire Giant, though. I don't think you fought the boss. I don't need to. I know what I think about it. I fought enough of those guys to know what I think about the boss fight. At Fair Missoula. Yeah, I don't think I did that. I still know what I think about him, though. He's still better than Fire Giant. The abductor. Does that say abductor virgins? I can't read what that's saying. It did say abductor virgins. Or something like that. Oh, it's just these freaking... your existence offends me too. Get down there. Realistically, you're not all the way down there, but you'll go right there. Nah. Right here. Here. They're just a regular enemy that they give a boss health bar to. Adon, Thief of Fire. Which one's this? I have a feeling I already know what I'm going to give to you. Yeah, you're just a big boy in an Evergoal. I remember you. I remember. Wait, did I fight you? I can't remember if I fought you. I don't think I fought these guys. I don't think I fought him. I don't think I fought him. I don't think I fought him. I do not think I fought him. The Alabaster Lord. I don't think I fought you either. I know who you are, though. Oh, man. This guy was a fucking trip. Okay, so this is the Black Knife Assassin that you fight in the Evergoal. In the, at the area at the end of the Ronnie quest line. He's the hardest Black Knife Assassin in the game. He's also the most fun. I will give him a mid B. Right here. Right here. In an early Liurnia Evergoal, if I did fight him, then he's just a dude and he'll go right there. He's just a dude. He's just a dude. Love the fight. It was super fun. Super fun. I have a high opinion of the Black Knife Assassins. I remember this guy. Ancient hero. I was using Bloodhound Step, War of Ashes, so I felt so fast paced. Oh yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. I remember this guy. I remember this guy being pretty fun. I don't remember him being like ridiculously memorable. So we'll give him a high C. I remember him being fun. I don't remember anything specific about him though. You did Alabaster Lord? Okay, he was just a dude then. All right. Which one of these was the main one and which one of these was the dungeon one? I guess that doesn't matter because our movesets are identical. But the one that is the actual boss fight is going to be ranked higher for reasons that I'll get into. Their stage is different, right? I can't remember which one is the dungeon one and which one is the actual one. I guess it doesn't matter. We'll just say that Of the Void is the dungeon one. Star of Darkness is Tunnel. Natural of the Void was the boss. Okay. The Star of Darkness is the highest C. He is the highest just a dude. No, he is the lowest B. No, I'll put you here. Natural of the Void. Literally the exact same. I like his arena a little bit more, so we're gonna put him right next to him. Otherwise, the exact same fight. The only difference is one of them has a slightly bigger arena, and I appreciate that more. Yay. We did it. We win. So, in conclusion, I've only got 2 S tier bosses, but there's something to note in that the overall quality of the bosses of this game is actually insane. There are so many great fights in this game. Like, okay, so I'm just gonna go through it. Obviously, the best, second best, great. I mean, yeah. It's close to Sekiro in quality. I would say so. Sekiro, they're both like both Sekiro and Elden Ring. The boss quality is very high. Like, the majority of the bosses are in higher tiers. Many bosses are very hit and miss. That is very true. I mean, a lot of the dungeon... Well, I mean, I did just say that a lot of bosses were just a guy for a reason, right? But all of them, the majority, if not just about all of the major bosses in Elden Ring are great. And that's awesome to hear. The overall quality of the enemies in Elden Ring is good. There are very few stinkers. And then there's the gargoyle, which makes me wish that I didn't exist. People are still talking about the Crystal Boys needing to be in D tier. But they don't offend me. They're not offensive. They're not offensive to me. And also, I think the first time I came across them was in the boss fights, so I don't see them as just regular trash mobs. They don't offend me. I didn't say that I hated the snail. I just said it was... I mean, the snail just died in one hit. What do you want from me? It doesn't have any mechanics. Still better than Fire Giant. But I didn't hate the snail, I just for it. You see, I want to put the snail in C tier, but no, he doesn't have the ability, he doesn't have anything. Didn't realize you misspelled twins? I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I did. But yeah, that's my tier list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. You know. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You can, you know, like the video and subscribe if you want to. Or you don't have to, but if you're interested, you can always follow me on Twitch. I'm streaming more consistently now. And I will be doing a Rune Level 1 playthrough of this game very soon. And I might do an updated tier list after I've upped an updated tier list after I play this game some more. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.